Hi, this is Mrs. Stewart, and I'm your library media specialist here at R.J. Longstreet Elementary School. Today, I wanted to talk to you about choosing a just right book. I'm so passionate about students coming in and making their own choices in the library. It's so important. Sometimes as parents and teachers, we might encourage students to check out a certain level book, which is okay, but what's more important when a student is choosing their own book is to make sure that they make a choice that's one, something that they're interested in, and two, something that they can read independently. Sometimes just because they're in third grade and the book might say level 3 on it according to reading counts, doesn't mean that the student can only read a third grade level book. Choice is so important when you're exposing students to the wonderful world of reading. So how do we choose a just right book if we can't just look at levels? Well, this is the first way that we encourage students to do this. We encourage them to look at the title of the book, and we also encourage students to go to the back to read the summary of the book. That gives them an idea. Is this something that I want to read about? Is this topic appropriate for me? Sometimes in the fiction section there might be a title or a topic in that book that might not be appropriate for a third grade student, even though it says level 3 on it. So we have to read the summary. Is it something I want to read? Next, we're going to start the Fivefinger Test, and that's an easy way that you can either do it mentally on your head or you can use your fingers to help you out to see if the book is going to be too difficult to read. You'd open up to the very first page or any page that you want, and you would start to read from top to bottom. If you come to a word that you don't know, you'd hold a finger up. Another word you don't know, hold a finger up. If you have no more than 2 fingers up by the end of the page, usually that book is a just right book for you, and you will do fine reading that book and understanding what you've read. But if you have 3, 4, or 5 fingers up, more than likely it's going to be too hard, and you're going to be missing some essential pieces to understand the story completely. So we encourage students to do the Fivefinger Test when picking a just right book. Will they grow as a reader? Yes. So that book that they might want to check out that has really no pictures and a lot of words and might be close to 200 pages, they might not be ready for this yet. But they can grow as a reader and build their reading endurance by choosing a just right book. Now, if your student is in grades 3, 4, or 5, they're bringing home books, in grades 2 as well, they're bringing home books. They might pick a book that you know is too challenging for them. Should you discourage them from reading that book if they chose it because they're interested in it? No, something that you can do instead is to sit down and read with your child. Take turns reading chapters or pages. Help them figure out the unknown word. At night, if you're sitting down to read and your student is wanting to read before bedtime, don't discourage them from reading. When you sit down and read with your student, it might not be the appropriate time to help them sound out a word. Just give them the word and continue the story. Instead, at the end of a chapter, at the end of the page, ask them what just happened in the story. Can you tell me what this was mostly about? Have them summarize and talk about the story with you so that they can remember what they read. That's one of the biggest challenges of reading a novel is when you get to this step is that you have to recall what you just read last time you picked up the book to continue the story. That's where we want to get our students to. So we go from these Everybody chapter books, which are right behind me in the Everybody section, which we're encouraging our kindergartner and first grade students who are really starting to read their words so well. They're being encouraged to find a just right book here. We're going from upgrading to quite a bit of words, not so many pictures. Then we have our special series section in the fiction area where these are easy chapter books that upgrade just a little bit more text, not too many pictures. And then we're trying to get them here to this stage where you have no pictures and it's just text, and they're using that skill of visualization to make a mind movie in their head of what's happening in the book. So This is a challenge and a skill that doesn't just happen with the teacher reinforcing. It doesn't just happen with Mrs. Stewart, the librarian, reinforcing, but you also play a part as well. Our Cardinal families do. Listening to your student read, reading to them, encouraging to find something that interests them. And I'm telling you right now, if that's Captain Underpants or Dog Man or something that they always come home with, it's because they love it. And if they love it and are wanting to read it, there's no reason to discourage them. But maybe you can encourage them to pick something different. A great place to start are the SSYRA books. Encourage them to pick one of those, bring it home, and read it together as a family. We appreciate all the things that you do to support our Cardinal students at home. Thank you for supporting reading and choice here at RJ Longstreet.